11 thoughts about my trip around Europe on my 11-hour scenic ride from Geneva to Austria. 1. The world is full of beauty and you should go and see it. 2. Everywhere people are the same. They want to live with dignity, work and provide for their own. And if they can live beautifully in addition to taking care of their own, they want that. 3. Cities have characters. Dubrovnik was relaxed. Vienna was wealthy. Amsterdam was free and welcoming. Sorrento was laid back and hardworking at the same time. Geneva was purposeful and intelligent. Rome seemed vested. It was rich in both history and personality. 4. We walked a lot and used a lot of the public transportation around Europe, and it was amazing. Every city we went, we took the hop-on, hop-off first so that we could get an idea of the history of the city, as well as and we used Airbnbs a lot so that we could get a feel for the locals. 5. In cities that were surrounded by water, we were worried about what we heard from the locals about cruise ships, especially the fact that cruise ships don't really add to the economies of the cities. They come in, they dump their refuse in the water. You have a lot of people marching onto the city and then leaving the same day, so they don't help the economy of the cities. I actually think that there should be legislation around cruise ships and how many of them visit certain cities, especially where they affect the ecology of that city. 6. Climate change is very real. In one of the photos, you see the cities surrounded by water, or at the by the ocean front. And because of climate change and the heating up of the Alps, the water levels are rising, threatening people's livelihoods and homes. Do what you can to help the climate. The 11 hours on the train was great. On one of the trips between the Amalfi Coast and Sorrento, I had a 2-hour bus ride, and through the hairpin bends, I came out feeling extremely nauseous. 11 hours on the train didn't feel the same way. However, when we got to Vienna, I had the feeling of being in motion, being in forward motion for almost a day. 8. The fact that you're going on a long journey doesn't mean you won't feel the length of the journey. It was long, 11 hours. The route was scenic, but I was still tired. This reminds me of one of the lessons I learned with my ice bath in the Maldives. If you know it's going to be cold, it doesn't take away from the fact that when it's cold, it will still hurt. On the way between Geneva and Vienna, we passed through a lot of countries, Germany, but the most interesting for me was a country called Liechtenstein or something like that. It's a country with about 35,000 people. It's the smallest country to border 2 countries. It's right between Vienna, Austria and Switzerland, and it is doubly landlocked on both sides. It has 35,000 people, and it's actually called the Principality of Liechtenstein, which is the first time that I've heard of a country called that. It's ruled by a monarch, a prince. I thought that was interesting. 10. I find from my trip that the world rises up to meet your expectations of it. All I got on this trip was kindness, love. The world was kind to us. People were kind, people were welcoming. They answered our questions from Dubrovnik to, Rome to Sorrento. Kindness, kindness, kindness everywhere. And 11, I would say, enjoy your Schengen visas if you have one. So from Nigeria, you get a Schengen visa to go to Europe. But this was the first time we had used that visa to explore so many places on one trip, and it was wonderful. It was a wonderful cultural experience, wonderful gastronomical experience, and it was a wonderful way to traveling with our backpacks and our hand luggage only. So we traveled really light. We enjoyed the local scenery. We were able to be nimble, take the buses, take the transportation, and all of that, because we didn't have a lot to carry, and that made the trip more authentic. I hope you've enjoyed my 11 thoughts on my 11-hour train ride between Austria, between Geneva and Austria. I'll be sharing more soon. This was the Scenic train, and we really did enjoy going on it. Travel is a great form of education, and I'm so honored that the Lord allows me do it. God bless you. Take care of you. My name is Hajara Quiton, and I'm the head coach at the Audacity to Soar network. And this is a roundup of some of the lessons some of the thoughts I had around our trip to Europe on this long train ride. Ciao!
Ja, ich weiß nicht, Nein, das ist auch Wolken, wir sind